Hi, Aaron Fulk. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's hard not to be doing great with this beautiful weather. Hopefully, the audience is not out enjoying it and they're watching this cool show. What about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing.
Are you burned right now? Not burned metaphorically, but literally, are you burned?
Yeah, I went. How was your spring break, Scott?
It was wonderful. We took the children down to the beach in Seaside, Florida, and they built a lot of sandcastles. How was your spring break?
Nice. We went to the Dominican, my daughter and I, and then my son was on the cruise. So, and my daughter turned 13, so it was a good time. But yeah, we bought sunscreen there, and it was a bad idea. We should have brought our own.
I did not know that. It's funny as they say, never drink the water.
Yeah.
But then we all drink a bunch of mixed drinks with ice. So, what do we do?
I don't drink the ice there.
Ooh, you do. So isn't that another situation? Because then it's a lot of booze in a cup if they pour it with no ice, right?
I don't know. I don't really drink that much when I go with my kids, honestly.
No, I hear you. I don't
drink a lot of bottled water.
I actually don't drink a lot around the holidays. Don't know why,
Right. Like it's like the opposite of what you're supposed to do. But
yeah, what's your guilty pleasure if no booze? Mine's orange soda.
Oh, Dr. Pepper.
There we go. I'd love to know what Evardy's guilty pleasure is, because I know it'd be funny. And same with Bestway International. I feel like we got a lot of characters as our sponsors. They just are funny people.
Right. So what else has been up?
So we're a sports show that we always tell people, but Joel Goldberg's actually here at Hub International. He spoke to 200 people. It was really good. He did a great job. Aaron Fulk and I are huge Joel Goldberg fans, and Aaron actually knows Joel from the theater community, right?
No, I know him from our group of friends, but
yeah.
Then as our kids got into high school, they became friends.
It's double time. Yeah.
So Kansas City's small like that.
Yeah, I know one thing that you've been doing a good job is talking about cafe cargo for Bestway International. Obviously, with tariffs going on, there's a lot of things that we kind of still don't know or understand. So we highly suggest that people talk to our sponsor, Bestway International. Evardy Construction, if you don't know them, I mean, I don't know what rock you're sleeping under, because they're everywhere. But they're in full busy mode. I don't know if they're watching the show. They're probably building a bunch of stuff right now.
Exactly. Well, we are super excited to get ready with our guests. So nobody cares about us. Let's bring our guests in. What do you think?
Let's dance.
Okay. Sounds good. Here we go. All right. Our first guest today, Brad. And our second guest is Kyle. Hi, guys. How are you? We are going to get started. So, Brad, are you there? Brad, are you there?
We almost had it. Don't worry. We got Kyle.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Brad pops back up. Kyle,
hey, I always wanted a walk-up song.
we can't see you, Brad.
Hey,
Kyle, who are you?
I always wanted a walk-up song, Aaron.
You got one.
Kyle, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
I am Kyle Roach. I'm the COO of Diamond Mechanical Contractors. We're a plumbing and HVAC service company. I am born and raised Kansas City, so I've been here my whole life and love everything about it.
Kyle, can you give us a little background of how you got into your industry, or did you just do it right out of college?
I graduated out of high school, and my dad gave me a choice. He says you can go to school or you can go to work, and I decided to go to work, and so I've been doing it ever since. He ran an HVAC business when I was a kid, and I just followed right in the footsteps and have been doing it for 30 years.
How has your industry changed in the last 5 or 6 years that maybe the general public wouldn't be aware of?
It's the last 5 or 6 days it changes. I mean, it is so many things have changed in the industry from, you used to be able to walk up with a tool bag and have every tool you need. Nowadays, you're walking up with a computer to systems to to diagnose, to look at them. It's just this year, the beginning January 1st, 2025, EPA and put changes in as far as refrigerant we're using now, A2L compliant refrigerants. I mean, it's constantly evolving, which is exciting. I've been doing this for 30 years and I still learn something new every day, which is awesome.
So how has private equity affected your business? Because I feel like there's so many new players all the time in your space.
There is, that's where relationships with customers, relationships with your clientele really make a difference, because there are a lot of new players that'll come in and want to try to take work, do things like that, and just the relationship that we build with all of the customers at DMC, they know the service they're getting, and they don't look otherwise. So it does affect us, but it really we've weathered those pretty well.
I love it. How long have you been at DMC?
I've been at DMC. I'm going to be celebrating my 6th year, I believe, or 5th year at DMC this summer. So
let me ask you this. There's very few in your industry owned by women. What's it like? I mean, I know that's a big selling point on y'all's end. I see a lot of stuff online about that. What is it like working for a woman-owned company? Women History Month. Good question.
It's awesome. Honestly, Karen our owner is just an amazing human being. She not only sees the business side of things, but she also sees the guys and understands that, workers out in the field, we deal with a lot of stress. The HVAC industry is a high stress industry. Same with the plumbing industry. And so she's just one of those bosses that you're able to, heck, if I'm having a bad day, I call her up and say, hey, you know what? I need to vent to you. And she listens. So really one of the best bosses I've ever had a chance to work with.
Awesome. Good answer. Brad.
I didn't know it was Women's History Month. Is that bad?
Of course you didn't know that.
So the walk-up music, we always joke around that it's Johnson County white frat guy music. So that's why Aaron and I do a great show together for the last 5 years, is we balance the 30 on it. The question I want to ask, which I was so glad that Aaron asked some really good questions, was in the plumbing world, what is the most busiest day of the year?
That's a loaded question, because pretty much every day is a busy day. Generally, Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, becomes a very busy day. But in reality, if we have a good drought, those becomes the busiest days, because your foundations move and we get cracked lines and things like that. So it's the prototypical, the day after Thanksgiving is going to be the busiest day. It is for the most part, but sometimes it's middle of summer when we get lines, foundations moving and things like that, and we'll have a lot of cracked lines, and that creates chaos for us all over the place.
Is there anything as homeowners we can do, or the audience can do, to avoid the cracks, or is it just part of the environment?
No, there really isn't. Most houses, if you have a sprinkler system and the vegetation around there, you're watering around, you're not going to see as much. But in reality, there's not a whole lot. The droughts are hard on everything. And with the way foundations are built, you have a lot of fill work that's right around the house that over the years compacts and settles. And, once we get a drought, it'll start to move on you. So there's not a whole lot you can do, with exception just to make sure that you're watering your lawns and things like that to help that out.
Awesome, Kyle. You're filling in and you're taking. All right, Brad. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
That first and foremost, I always wanted my own walk-up song, and then I got my walk-up song, and it comes in, and my internet goes out. So
You're all good.
Exactly. Hey, I'm Brad Campbell, CEO of Nuweh, and we are wholly owned by the Iowa Tribe of Kansas and Nebraska. Our reservation is located in northeast Kansas with sovereign territory both on the Nebraska and the Kansas side of the state lines. Came to Kansas City originally in 1977 and came up through school out in the southern Johnson County area and moved away to northeast Kansas for a short period of time, came back to Kansas City and finished college actually at Mid-American Nazarene University down in Olathe, and then met my beautiful bride of 36 years and went off to Dallas and Springfield and then back to Kansas City and had our first business here in Kansas City that was a local radio station, and then ended up and sold it and then started another general contracting company and have been here back in the area since around 2010. And so always loved Kansas City. It's home pretty much, even though I was born in Nebraska. A bunch of my Nebraska folks will be upset if I don't, say I wasn't born a Husker kid. So I got to at least say that. And, but been in Kansas City a lot of my life, and great place to raise a family, great place to be in business. I mean, look at the people that are on the show today and everything that you guys are doing, Aaron and Scott. It's people like you guys that make Kansas City what it is. And so excited to be here. Thanks for allowing me to jump on and be a part of the show today. And when I saw the sponsors, it was great. I mean, Best International, love Jay and Riley. Have had a chance to meet them. One of our subsidiaries that we're looking to stand up is going to be in that transportation logistics area. So they've been great guys to get to know. And then, of course, Chris and Brian at Evardy, when I saw that, had a chance to have coffee with them and meet with them and check and see how we can just start building a relationship. And one of our subsidiaries is Bacoje Construction, where we're specializing in self-performing on the electrical HVAC and roofing piece of it. And so we're just getting to know some of the GCs, and Brian and Chris are one of them, and they're great guys. So I was glad to see them on the sponsor list today.
Awesome. We are so excited to have you. All right, Scott, jump into your question because we are trying to keep up on time.
Kyle, what was the most pivotal point in your career?
Most pivotal point, probably two of them. One is when I graduated high school and I made a decision whether to go to college or go to work. That's changed my life forever. And then the second would be going to DMC. I left the company for 20 years and jumped in to help Karen out, run the HVAC division, and then stepped into the CEO role. And it's been the best decision I've ever made in my life. It really has. It's opened my eyes. Karen's opened my eyes to a lot of things about the industry and how to run the business. And it's been pivotal for me.
Was it something you were ready for, or did you have to jump 2 feet in? Like, how did you feel about it when it happened?
I don't know if you're ever really ready. Sometimes you just kind of put your head down and push forward. But in a lot of ways, yes. I've been in this industry my whole life, so I wasn't caught by surprise on the industry. It was more the business side of things that Karen has taught me quite a bit about. Just kept me, another level of understanding of the business side of it, not necessarily the mechanic side of it. You give me a wrench and put me in front of a unit, I can do that all day long, but having to make sure the flow of guys and everything's correct is been something that I've really had to work on and progress through.
What is something that you feel like you weren't good at in the business side, but now you feel like you're getting better?
Relations. I grew up in the industry 30 years when I was a kid, and it was a little bit harsher. I had bosses that threw wrenches at me to get me motivated. You can't quite do that anymore. And finding better paths. That's one of the biggest things is working with guys. Leadership is not necessarily being that guy in front everybody looks to. It's being that guy that everybody flocks to and everybody wants to be at the helm of things. And that's something that I've had to learn, is that, not brute force, leading with that carrot and really showing guys that we're all in this together.
Love that. Love that. And I love that you're so like, this probably seems very outside of what you normally do. So I love that you stepped up and did that. I think you're really touching yourself today. All right.
Brad, what about yourself? What was the most pivotal point in your career?
You know, I'll take it back to at the end of college.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the end of college. As I said, my wife and I met then, and we were dating at the time. And my dad had been in ministry. Had been in ministry 65 years, and we just lost my dad this last summer. Something I always wanted to be in. I love that aspect and the space of being able to share Jesus with people and just live life, on mission and do good. And that's what I wanted to do. But I had a mentor of mine that was a good friend of my dad's, and he came to me and just said, "Hey, we're behind you 100% in what you're doing." He said, "I've been in a meeting up in Chicago. I can't get you off of my mind. I don't want to deter you from what you're doing, but is there any way you'd even think about, talking to us?" And he was an executive with BASF Corporation at that time, and so out of respect for him, that evening, actually, my bride, we were just dating at that time, and that evening we were doing our devotions together over the phone, and had this unlimited opportunities, verbiage that we started talking about. And I just said, "Hey, out of respect, I need to go and just visit." I said, "I'll fly to Newark. I'll come back. It won't take very long, but I want out of respect to do that." And in that, I really didn't know what was going on as a young guy, and never thought I would be from a business standpoint, in that space. But I found myself in a series of interviews that day that I really probably didn't even realize what I was going through. And at the end of the evening, I'm sitting in the president of the office for BASF for the Americas, and asking me to go to Dallas and work and do some things with them that they were looking at doing. And after much prayer and talking to my girlfriend at the time that became my wife, we went out on a journey and felt like that was a door that was being opened up. And that was nearly 36 years ago, Scott and Aaron, and he's kept us in the business field, but we've learned that hey, we can do good along the way, and when we live life on mission, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We can do good with people and share that love, share that love of Christ with a lot of people. So that'd be the pivotal moment, Scott, I would say.
Well, 4 kids later and 10 businesses later, it sounds like it was a good decision.
You agree?
He does.
I don't know. You maybe have to ask some other people other than me, but especially my wife sometimes is like, "Are you serious? We're going to do this?" But yeah, no, it's been quite a journey, and 2 biological kids, 2 adopted kids, and been blessed in that regards. And we're learning what the empty nester syndrome is. Having that last one go off to college, and so we're back to the 2 of us. Luckily we've been courting and dating for 36 years, so we just got to keep that up and get to spend a little more time together.
Love it. All right, Kyle, how are you doing on your 2025 goals, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
So I think one of the biggest things for our 2025 goals is personally for me is growth and leadership. How can I help my team get better, be more efficient, and enjoy every day of work? And the Kansas City area has been so great and so gracious. When we go out to job sites, every new client that we talk to, every new customer we have is always just been a pleasure to talk to. And I think that's one of the things is we've really invested into the local market here and try to invest into local companies and create partnerships. And I think keep growing that. That's how the Kansas City. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna show them what DMC can do, and really expand some of those local matchups and teams together.
So, what are your goals? Do you feel like in the next 3 years you really want to accomplish?
In the next 3 years, I think one of the biggest goals is just getting our name out there, our growth, trying to establish a difference in the plumbing and heating service industry. It gets told to me a lot, oh man, that HVAC guy's coming around. It's going to be another $1,000. It's going to be this or that. And it kills me to hear that, because I want people to think, hey, we're coming out here, we're going to help. A lot of people think that there's a lot of bad times in the day. Well, one of the hardest times in the day is if your unit goes out or if your plumbing goes out. I mean, it's a helpless feeling. And so we're trying to kind of change that narrative of, oh man, we've got to call DMC to come out there. Oh, we're going to call DMC and they're going to fix it. They're going to fix it right. And they're going to do a good job and be honest with us. Because I think that's what we all need. And that's changing that narrative. So in the next 3 years, growing to a DMC that can help do that for the Kansas City area.
That is something that I feel like so many people feel like. I know Aaron and I feel like that. Where does that come from? Like, when people in the industry, did that happen recently, or is that something that's going on for a while?
It's been going on for a while, but like we were talking to some of those private equities, they get in there and they'll gouge a customer, because they'll get that one fix and be on to the next customer. And that's not what we're looking for. We like to build a relationship. We'd rather, sacrifice a little bit of profit, but make a relationship with the customer that we continue on for years, because at the end, that's going to be the best way. And so, yeah, you see that a lot. That's where that comes from, is the customers will come in and they get gouged, and well, you remember that.
Yeah, that's right. Slow and sturdy wins the race.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, Brad, how are your 2025 goals going, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
Hey, it's fast and furious moving. Company for the tribe, and having that done, and now we've stood up the first subsidiary in Bakwaje Construction, getting ready to start on a couple of first developments and good projects up in the region and here locally, and excited about that. Also, and I mentioned the transportation piece, getting to meet the guys at Bestway and the different folks and some of the different subsidiaries that we're looking at. But goals on it, we've reached our NMSDC MBE certification. We've got our Kansas MBE certification now. Probably two big goals for 2025, Aaron, is achieving our hub zone and our 8A federal certifications. And so we're going through that process right now with the federal government and the SBA. And so we're hoping that by midsummer, mid to late summer, we'll have both of those certifications. So that's a big goal for 2025. And then we're setting up our 501c3 and company called Wa'upike, which means good work in our Iowa language. And so we're establishing that with our Nuweh board of directors and getting that ready to be stood up, and working with the Boys and Girls Clubs and working with workforce development, and doing some hopefully some good things with a lot of the different companies that we're working with and hope to work with as well. So getting that 501c3 set up is a goal for sure for 2025 as well. So we're excited about that. I heard Scott right at the beginning mention Joe Goldberg, and had a chance to meet him and see him give a presentation to leaders, and had a chance to begin to establish that relationship, and looking forward to him working with us on our 501c3 and some different leadership training that we're working with the John Maxwell group. and going to bring Joel into some of that with us in what we're doing on some events and different things on it. So when I heard that, it reminded me of that. I got to remember to bring that up when we talk about 2025 goals, and excited to have him a part of the team.
Love it.
You got to mention to him when you reach out to him, you're like, I was just talking to Aaron Fulk, and your name came up.
I haven't seen him in a minute. Also, well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. You guys were absolutely fabulous. You both really stepped up today. So let's say it like that. Both really stepped up. Super excited. You can connect with both Brad and Kyle right here on LinkedIn. Thank you so much to Bestway International and Evardy Construction for being our sponsors. They're amazing as always. Hello to Zach. He said hi to you, not to me, but whatever. It's fine. Hi, Zach.
He's a big deal. He's remodeling the Aladdin Hotel.
Zach, guess what? I don't know if you guys ever did this. Back in the day when Power and Light was open, I was still in my 20s, like later 20s, when they first opened up. But Aladdin Hotel used to have $99 rooms after midnight. So I stayed there a lot. Because that was really before.
Wow, that's a good deal.
It was a good deal back in the day. So Zach took away my secret, but it's fine. I'm excited to see it. I've been watching that project. So, all right. Well, you can connect with both these guys here. Thank you, Scott, for being the best co-host ever. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Goodbye.